Well, make a lot of videos on silver and gold, but I think this one's going to be real important too. This is information I did not find out myself. It was sent to me in an email by, it's not something like, it's not going to be something on the person I'm saying it. Silver Mania. He sent me this and I thank him for this. Basically, just a couple of days ago, it was about, it's from the Canadian Insider, Eric Sprott selling off his PSLV. So, we had the biggest dip in silver since, I don't know, God, I have no idea, really. It's probably like a year where it took a day like this bad. And, it's below the all-time low for us. We never hit this. It's actually broke through 26. So, I mean, as far as in the last couple of years practically, almost the last couple of years. I'd say, a couple of years. So, looks like Eric Sprott sold on April 3rd, April 5th, April 8th, April 9th, April 11th. So, how's that? Say today's April 12th, and the bottom fell out, basically, right? So, this guy, he knows. When that fund came out, I think it was a little over $10. Now it's a little over $10. The PSLV, he sold it at $20-something, and everybody else bought it at $20-something, right? And Max Kaiser, of course, came out and told you he's a silver vigilante. He's against the big conspiracy. He's against the banksters. And now Max Kaiser's told everybody to buy bitcoins. It went from I know it was $30 in a bubble last year. It went down. It's 83. Then it was 100, 200 something. Now it's down to 100 or something. So I'm going to stick with this because I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm a workaholic. And I could play, I don't know, maybe I'm going to probably start playing a little more professional because I don't think a message is getting out there good enough sometimes. But I don't like playing professional, I'll tell you the truth. But this is very interesting that Sprott was selling all this week. Now, I'm pretty bullish on gold and silver for a reason, though. And it's not because, obviously there's the super bears and there's the super bulls. They're both going to be wrong. That's a quote from Mark Farber, actually, but that's probably correct. I mean, you got radical people that are super bears on silver, and you got radical people that are super bullish on it, like it's going to be the nirvana that's going to save you forever. And a lot of times they seem to be very religious on both extremes, both ends. When you see somebody that extreme, it's usually like their extreme religion, too. I'm not into extreme religion. I'm into common sense religion. How's that? God. But the thing is, I thought the bottom for silver was going to be here in around April or sometime in the summer of 2012. I figured that was going to be the third low. It was going to go a little bit below 26. Theoretically, the last low should break through other previous lows. It hasn't done that until basically today, and maybe it'll go a little lower. Now, what I was forecasting back then, not that I'm some kind of super genius or nothing, but I wasn't going into the 18 to 22 territory. I was going into the 24 and a half, 25 territory. That's where I thought it was going to bounce at. And that may very well be because, not because I'm some kind of super genius, but what I'm talking about is because it seems to fake out the super bulls and the super bears. So now everybody's predicting it's going to go extremely low. But I also want to point out this. Silver's not the only thing. Silver got hammered really bad. I know more than a lot of other commodities, but you saw the other precious metals like platinum, palladium, and down and all this. And fundamentally, they're in short supply. But what else got hammered? Coffee. Corn got hammered last week, big time. It's like the biggest drop in so many months. It was something ridiculous. Yet there's all these shortages. I mean, there's bee colony collapses going on left and right. And yet all the agricultural commodities are going down. There was the biggest drought going on in the United States since 1936, and yet the agricultural commodities are going down. Yeah, and I'm going to say, I think there is manipulation, but a lot of people kind of point to, front running and electronic trading and stuff. I think a lot of times manipulation is just, it's actually in the media, the financial media. It's like they make investors jump one way, and it's partly a few different things. Basically, you can print stories that such and such is going to do this and that, and then the market gets spooked, or you start it that way a little bit, and then other people follow, and you have the story to back up the reason. So, but as far as like say platinum or something like that dropping through the floor, first off, they're not even making money. They're unprofitable on platinum, even at $1,600 an ounce. They're losing money on silver at $30 an ounce. These are industrial metals. So, if you're playing leverage, you're screwed. I guess I'm playing leverage on oil basically because of Lindsey Williams and some other professor call, but I'm not playing it hard leverage. It's actually leverage that can last a long time. And then if oil gets spiked up really high, I'll actually make out on it. But I don't panic and sell. That's the one that actually bothers me. The silver don't bother me. The oil bothers me. That one bothers me. Not the silver. And not the platinum or palladium or the stocks. None of that stuff bothers me because I know that's down. The only one I don't like is the leverage because it erodes. But I have that in oil. But, so that was the only thing that pissed me off today. Really. It was the oil. But I don't know when that's going to blow up or what, because and that's really what aggravated me too, because I heard Lindsey Williams, specifically Pastor Lindsey Williams, I'm going to save your dinner table. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. He's so full of it. Guy is so full of it. He's an idiot. Basically, he's an idiot. And I'm an idiot for listening to him too much. That's my problem. Because sometimes he's throwing out some facts, and other times he's so far off the wall, it's ridiculous. Now, you got other people out there that are super religious, that are very bearish on everything, like fiat is your safety. Wrong again. Wrong again. If you think fiat's your safety, get a paper gun. Get a paper gun. Live in a paper house. It's a scam. And the people that are playing this game, that are driving these prices of these real commodities down to these ridiculously, and it's not bad. I mean, the fact that the commodities are going down, it should make things less money. Like when you go to the food store, you buy a product. If you buy coffee, coffee should be cheaper. Hey, I'm going to buy some right now, man. But I'm going out there tonight. But, the thing is, they're making paper look like it's God. And if you're religious, this phony paper is not God. If you're really into true religion without telling me every line out of the Bible, because I'm not exactly against religion, but I know like people like the abolitionist women that were back in the turn of the century, they're like, you can't do this, you can't do that. So they had wound up having prohibition and gangsters, and everybody got the supply anyway from somebody else, right? I mean, I see extremists on one side, like Brother John F. He's predicting 500. Well, actually, I think during one day or something, silver might actually go to $400 or $500 for like a day, sometime, some years from now, when it hits the ultimate peak. It could. Now you got people like the news unit predicting $15 worth silver. That's not going to happen. They're going to freaking shut down. There'd be so much buying pressure before that ever happened. Their coins really would run out. But what they're doing is they want the biggest guys want this stuff cheap, and they're going to leave people holding paper. They're going to be holding the bag. Who's going to hold the bag is going to be holding paper, basically government paper, bonds and stuff. And a lot of these equities in these fluff companies, like a lot of these, like the Dow, it consists of, I forgot what's in it, but a lot of it is the major banks and stuff like that. They could crash the Dow. Who the hell knows? To me, it's fluff. Actually, the only companies I actually have trust in are the ones that actually produce something that people need, which would be the oil companies, the food, agricultural companies, Jim Rogers into it, and those type of things, produce real goods. And Jim Rogers said something I thought was very enlightening, because basically he said during the 50s, 60s, and 70s was the heyday of the financial world. people in the financial world ruled everything. Paper people, the paper pushers and all that stuff. He says in the future it's going to be agriculture. It's actually, and that's probably not just going to be agriculture. It's going to be people who know how to do mechanical work, machinery, like not just but actually people, hands-on people. And there's always this condescending thing from the financial world or from education world, like educated world, that people who do things hands-on are stupid. They're not. They're not. I mean, did you ever see like a mechanic that really knew his stuff, that understood all the different aspects of fuel systems, cooling systems, electrical systems, and complicated computer systems, and how to weld and do body work on an automobile? It's just one freaking product. It's a very complicated. And actually, I'm not familiar with the agricultural area, but I know like there's people that there's a tree farmer around here. He was actually very wealthy. There's a hell of a lot to the agricultural area. There's a lot of degrees. There's a lot of course to take on it. It's not that simple. But in New York, and I'm from the area basically, it's like people totally kind of condescend on that. They just worship the financial sector. Jim Rogers says that financial sector is in decline, and I believe it. I think it's going to go from. That's why you should hold fast with silver. And my thing is, if it goes down that low, I still won't sell it. I don't give a shit if it was $1 an ounce. I just would hold on to it forever. The only thing that would make me part with silver, platinum or palladium or gold, is if it got some astronomical gain, and I saw another asset out there that I could buy with that same trade paper, what do we call it, that was dirt cheap and suppressed. Now, it is not totally surprising that it went down this much, but I would be very surprised if it tested that 22. That's where I think it's going to fake out the super bears now, too. 15 is nuts. 18 is nuts. 22 is a little more logical, because it's had support there so many times. But it could fake you out there, too. As long as it goes below 26, this should be the final dip. This should be the final dip. But interesting, Eric Sprott sold this week. All this week and yesterday. Eric Sprott. So, does he tell you anything? Does he announce everything? No. So, this is going to be a good barometer to see exactly how things are going to play out in the future, because I think when Max Kaiser comes back on board about all this stuff and blah, 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 and he really pushed his stuff, it's going to be close to the top then. But it'll probably, you got to remember, at the end, when it gets near the top, it goes up like this. The curve really, just like Bitcoins, same thing. Silver's going to do that too. But also, when you're in this stuff, like when it's doing this stuff now, it's going to do like it's good to have this dip. You want a hard, fast dip. Scare the crap out of people. Basically, you're like bludgeoning people, basically. But if you're not selling, it don't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. If you're not selling, it's like them beating on a steel wall, and you're like, so? That's why I was saying, you do need fiat cash to ride out this kind of stuff. That's why I kept saying that. You don't want to be 100% lopsided in one thing. So, the only thing actually I'm pissed off about is the oil, but I don't know. I'm going to hold it forever until I see the Middle East blow up. And then, because it will blow up someday. It might be next year. I don't know. But you can hold that shit a long time. But as far as silver and gold, it doesn't even bother me. Not even at all. Not even one bit. Platinum, palladium, not one bit. The miners going down, not one bit. Not even worried about it. No. Because, I know what they're trying to do. And this basically is the right place to be. This is the right place to be. The metals are the right place to be. But if you want to wait forever and listen to other lunatics saying it's going to go to 15, I think you're wrong there too. Big time. That's what I say about these religious people. They go one extreme or the other extreme. It's usually the bad Christian, the one that's not too religion. They're the good Christian. Usually those are the ones. The ones that can't tell you all the different things out of the Bible. They just kind of know some of the red words that Jesus said. You know, Jesus says, just be fair and square to everybody and don't put on a big phony act. Those are the good Christians. The ones that can quote you every damn thing there is. And they say, they're the bad Christians. The ones that know everything. So I want to clear that up too.